Catfish Johnny's Restaurant, serving the Lake Pennsauken and surrounding areas since 1990. For the last 33 years, we have strived to serve great food at great prices and a friendly, casual atmosphere. If seafood isn't your thing, our burgers or wings are the best around. We have daily specials too. Check us out on Facebook or Instagram for more information. Pat's Taps at Catfish Johnny's. Pat's Taps is Lake Pennsauken's newest tap room, offering 14 rotating craft beers on tap. We also offer bottled domestic beers, seltzers, ciders, and wine, as well as a variety of appetizers and pub food. Our family-friendly tap room is a great place to come hang out and enjoy some one-of-a-kind craft beer. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or the Untapped app. All right, hey, welcome back to another edition of the Goblay Show. I'm your host, Billy, and we got this is a special edition. We're in Pittsburgh right now, and I have a former Pittsburgh Pirate, and Rocky, and Cardinal, and a whole bunch of other guys, but we're going to get into that later. But right now, I want to welcome to the show Mr. Michael McKenry. Fort, how's it going, buddy?
It's going good. Welcome to Pittsburgh.
Well, I appreciate that.
Just treat people the way you want to be treated.
Absolutely.
Do the best you can. If you're annoying, you're annoying. It is what it is. And you move on, because if you're not persistent, you have to think other people are fighting for your time.
Right.
You know, fighting for that time for you to be able to do this.
Absolutely.
And, you know, you stood out to me. And I appreciate it. And we're going to be friends for a long, long time because of this. And I think this will be successful because you are persistent.
Well, and I want to thank you for not only just saying that, but I've only met you twice before this.
Right.
So like I told you in the text, I'm just so appreciative. I'm like, thank you so much for just taking time out. That does not go overlooked by any means.
And you were very adaptable. You know what I mean? And I think that's something to be said, is like, people are trying to get into this realm. It's never about your time. It's about the guest time.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I say that because I try to do that so wholeheartedly, because I want to go on every podcast I can, because I know people are trying to grow their brand. They're trying to do things. And also, like, I want to help every kid possible that's chasing a dream.
Yeah.
So you have to be adaptable. And that's what you were. This came together, what, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
Maybe 2 days ago?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right before 2024.
Yeah.
And
it was last year.
Yeah. It actually came together last year.
Yeah.
But that's how it works.
Yeah.
And because of this, you have me, and then you have a really cool guest coming on right after me.
Yeah.
And that's because both of us have the same type of heart.
Absolutely.
We overextend, but you know, we can get it done with a little bit of adaptability. And that's exactly what you gave. And I can't thank you enough for it.
Well, I appreciate that. And I will say this, I never want to seem like I know everything. But I do have a really good judge of character and a good judge of people. And I've always been a people person. I've always grown up.
I can tell.
My mom would say, he's never met a stranger. And I love that, because you don't understand, or you don't even realize what people are going through daily.
Amen.
A daily walk.
It can look peaches and cream, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's nothing to the effect.
And you don't understand what, you know, they say walk a mile in a man's shoes. And I mean, I don't want to do all that, but I mean, I will talk to a man for a mile.
You'll walk a mile with him.
Yeah, that's right. And I'll talk to him and whatever I have to do. But it just, I mean, I'm going to get into the first time I ever met you, because I have a story for that. Well, it's a good story. There's nothing negative about you.
I'm just kidding.
And,
even if there was, I'd want to know it.
Right. Well, and another thing is, I may refer to you more than, I always call you the Fort.
I love it.
I do too. I think that's such a cool name. You come in here, and I'm like, this is the Fort. I mean, Michael.
You did. You introduced me like that, and you talked my ear off, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I feel like I know your family.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, we're like.
And then, by the way, we're at an Airbnb. Just showed up and just got this thing going. That's how life is, right?
But I love it. I love it. Yeah, we're in the middle of Pittsburgh. Let me tell you something. I would never have guessed in a million years that I'd be sitting down with you after. I mean, there's a lot of people going to watch this and go, "Well, I'm not a Pirates fan." Well, I am, and that's the difference.
You're also a people fan, like you said.
I am,
and I can see that, you know, very easily, because I didn't know your whole story until, you know, I showed up today and you told me some of it. And yeah, like, you're a people person. obviously you have a desire,
Yeah.
And the love for the city and the team, but
I do.
You also have, like you said, I think a knack for people, and I think that's really, really neat.
I want to ask you about being a Blue Raider. So, what was that experience like? I mean, you said, how many years did you play at Middle Tennessee State?
I was there for 3 years. So my recruiting process was weird.
Okay.
And I have gotten to look back at this, and I'm not going to be, I guess, humble about any of it because I was for such a long time. I was really good.
Yeah.
Like All-American good when I was in high school. But I didn't get any of those accolades. I got all the accolades to region, to Tennessee, blah, blah, blah. I'm still in the record books in a ton of different categories. And I didn't know how good I was until I got inducted into my high school Hall of Fame in 2015.
Oh, wow.
So I want you to think about this for a minute.
Yeah.
I had no clue that I stole 20 bases in a year as a sophomore. I had no clue that I was top 10 in home runs and RBIs and season RBIs and season home run. Like it goes on and on and on and on in the state of Tennessee. I had no clue. So I'm getting introduced as, a new Hall of Fame member, and I'm bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
And my wife's the only person that knows why. Because it's the first time I realized all those insecurities, all those fears didn't have to happen.
Yeah.
But I loved every second of it because it made me who I was.
Yeah.
I've never chased a number. I never worried about a number. I focused on the task at hand, the little wins, and I was way too hard on myself. I didn't enjoy the moment that well.
Yeah.
All that to be said is Middle Tennessee was the school I wanted to go to, even though I was, getting calls from Clemson, all these people, and they didn't know why they were calling me. That's my favorite thing about my recruiting process. Yeah. They were calling me, didn't know what position I played, weren't offering me scholarships. They were just calling to call. It was really weird. I mean, really, really strange. And then the smaller schools weren't calling because they assumed I was going somewhere else. So it's a really tough process. And I told you, I couldn't afford to just pick up and go. So boiled down to just a couple schools ended up really recruiting me with any true intent. And Middle Tennessee wasn't one of them. And I didn't know why.
Yeah.
Turns out the head coach didn't think I wanted to catch. And this is all hindsight. The assistant coach was really, really into bringing me in as the catcher of the future. Well, luckily, the guy they recruited did not end up signing with Middle Tennessee. He went to Indiana.
Oh, wow.
So I was their second choice. So Coach Pete finally answered all the letters I was sending. Oh, wait, I was sending them letters? Yes, kids. I was persistent. I wanted to be a Blue Raider. I wanted to play there. And I wanted to play for Coach Pete because he was tough, hard-nosed, and I knew he didn't want me.
Yeah.
I think that there was an appeal to that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
So I ended up, finally getting that visit to my house. I took my official visit, and he said, here's my scholarship papers. It was a great scholarship. I finally got the scholarship that I needed. And he goes, puts it here, and he pulls it back. I'm like, sir? And he goes, do you want to catch? That's the only thing I need to know before I hand you these papers. I said, sir, that's all I want to do. He said, good, because I was about to leave with your papers in hand. And I'm like, yes, I want to catch. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So anyways, I go to Middle Tennessee. I'm left field first year, so that's funny. But it's the only place I really wanted to go. I wanted to go there, and I wanted to go to Clemson. And why? It's because I played there when I was young. I fell in love with both campuses. And I knew how serious they were about baseball with Coach Corbin and Coach Pete. And they both took time to see a 14, 15-year-old kid that didn't need to be there. I was like I said, I was bigger for my age, so I got to play in things that I wasn't supposed to be playing in because nobody knew my age and they didn't ask.
Right.
So I made some, all Tennessee teams and some things I wasn't actually old enough to make.
Right.
And my dad didn't know any better to have me not show up, so I just show up. All that to be said is the two men that came up to me personally, put their arm around me and said, don't ever stop being you, are the two men I wanted to play for. One to be Coach Pete, one to be Coach Corbin. Coach Corbin I couldn't play for, so he went to Vanderbilt. And I had learning disabilities, like I said, and had some issues that I couldn't get in. But Coach Pete came after me finally, and that's why I chose Middle Tennessee, and it was the best choice I ever made because I also found my wife there.
Well, that itself will makes the story even better. Because you find, the love of your life, and you're playing the love of your life sport.
Yep.
I think you had a packed hand, or what do they call that? A packed hand or pat hand? Like,
Yeah, it wasn't easy.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
Say.
I did have a higher GPA my first year than my batting average.
Yeah.
So I made the dean's list,
Yeah.
and I hit 169.
Well, that's good.
Was the first time I ever failed.
Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah.
And I put myself in the hospital from working too much.
What is it? That's your freshman year, right?
That was my freshman year.
What is it with the freshman year where either you don't do so well? I mean, I guess it's because you're experiencing all this freedom, or, you know, because I know a lot of people that we had several kids go to universities and they were back by Christmas. I mean, they was like, you know, I don't know, maybe it's just
I think everybody's story is different. Mine had nothing to do with like going out doing stupid stuff. I didn't know my expectations.
Right.
I had a huge fall. Went off. Some of the older guys didn't like me because, you know, of competition in high school.
Right.
Ended one guy's career. And he hit me 3 times in the fall. Every time I faced him, he hit me. And I just kept plugging along. But then I think the pressure, my very first game, I called a perfect game. First game I ever called pitches. Happened to be that those guys were on. It had nothing to do with me. And then my first hit in college was a grand slam.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So like I set maybe a standard or something that I could never hold on to.
Right.
And I kept chasing it. And I think that was the worst part. And nothing that I did that year failing wise was because of ability.
Right.
It was because of my brain.
Yeah.
You know, I was making all these fears, had all these anxieties that weren't real, but someone had to tell me that it wasn't.
Yeah.
That I could be me and me was enough. And my summer coach that next summer, my freshman summer, did that. And then I took off after that.
Isn't it funny how your brain can make things seem so much more dramatic? Like, just say, for instance, the first time you ever drove a car. Did you feel like you were going to die?
No, I felt like Dale Earnhardt, actually. Like there is a piece of me that is very naive, and I think if I would have learned at a young age when to play that piece,
yeah,
I would have been better off.
Yeah.
The naive baseball player was very good, but I was also a critical thinker and never knew it until I met my wife and really started thinking, and I came into faith, and that made me think deep. But yeah, you have different, I guess, personalities within yourself.
Yeah,
and playing the right ones at the right time. But the car thing, never a problem.
Yeah, I was going to say, but, you know, like...
I know what you mean, though.
For most people.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, freedom!
Yeah, we have 75 right beside where we...
Which is like being in NASCAR.
Yes, basically, yes. And that was... I remember my driver's ed coach was going to take us on 75, and I'm just like, you want me to go where? And he's like, well, there's an acceleration ramp. It's not like you're just going to be thrown on the highway. And I'm like, but you don't understand, man. I don't even know what I'm doing. And but now you don't even think about it. I mean, I'm driving. I've been driving everywhere here in Pittsburgh, and sometimes it's a little weird. Yeah. Like the roads are not so.
They stink.
They're not so like user friendly, I'll say.
Google gets confused.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Trust me, this place is not normal when it comes to driving. There's too many bridges.
Yes.
And there's too many 30-minute detours you have to take if you take the wrong turn.
Yeah. I'm waiting to go up a one-way doing 90, which is like, like, whoa, what is going on here? But I mean, it's just the fact that, you know, I drove in New York City. I went up there.
Way easier.
Oh my gosh. I'm telling you right now, where we live with the people that like Orlando traffic, that is to me, like I would rather take Pittsburgh, New York.
Well, yeah, you got to worry
DC.
about those snowbirds too.
Oh my god.
And they all think they can still drive well.
Yes. White knuckling.
Oh yeah. Well, you have that.
Two hands on
then you have the weekend at Bernie's to just lean back like, woo! I'm 90. I'm on the verge of death. Woo!
my favorite thing is Jerry Seinfeld said this. He's like, they still had the blinker on from the morning coming out of the driveway. That's known as the eventual left.
Eventual. Yeah.
So
slow turn.
Yes. Or they're going over a bridge, which would be just like here, and they got their blinker on. I'm like, where are you gonna go?
It's gonna take a slight left into the ocean.
We're gonna go. It's a slight right into the Allegheny.
Yeah,
River.
no big deal.
Yeah. So I want to talk about pirates.
Okay.
I want to talk about pirates. I mean, I don't get enough pirates in Florida, and it's sad but true.
Open it up, MLB.
Yes. Well, I do have the MLB. I do have that package. Or actually,
but you never get to see the pre and post.
You're right. You're right.
That needs to change. And
you're right.
I was watching the game last night, Washington in Texas, and you had Colt McCoy and some of the guys on the sidelines. Obviously, there's only one broadcast group for that game because they have the rights to it.
Right.
But they found a way.
Yeah.
And that's something I am really trying hard with the Pirates is like, hey, there's a lot of fans out there. Yeah. Like, give them a pre and post game on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, give them something more.
I would subscribe to that. Seriously.
I think so because I think being a Pirates fan is frustrating.
Oh, no
Being
doubt.
a Pirates player is frustrating. Being from Pittsburgh, if you're a fan of winning, is frustrating at times. But one thing I've come to find is they love it and they want to know more. They want to know the whys.
Yep.
Even if they don't like the whys, they're going to argue with you and not believe you, but they'll go home and think about those whys.
Right.
And I think they deserve it. I hope it happens. And, you know, even if baseball opens up Pandora's box, bring in the nitty gritty for the true diehards.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it stinks. My mom and dad don't get to watch pre and post.
Oh, man.
For 6 years, I send them what I can and I post what I can.
Yeah.
But there's only so much that I can get done. And I hope they do a better job. They do it. You know, with MLB, those guys are on there, right? All the postseason games, let's get it done.
Is the exterior of your home or business covered in dirt, mildew, or mold? Driveway or walkway stained? Pressure King can make your siding, deck, vents, and concrete look new again with no damage. Pressure King has cleaned the exterior of houses and businesses all over Sumter County area. Usually it takes less than a day and costs less than you would expect. Call AJ at 352-457-7209. Well, when it was Root Sports, my parents had DirecTV, and we had the channel.
That's
and
awesome.
we had Root
That's
Sports.
the way it should be.
Fox Root, Pittsburgh Root Sports. And I'm just like, man, this is awesome because I could watch the pregame. You know, my least, I don't want to say my least favorite part is the rain delays when they show like old highlights and stuff. I mean, I do like watching.
You know what they're going to do this year?
What are they going to do?
They're going to do like a podcast. So we're going to fill.
Very cool.
So it'll go back and forth from the booth. From my understanding,
Gotcha.
Still learning, but yeah, I think that'd be neat. And I'm hoping what would be really cool is if we took calls during the rain.
Oh, that would be cool.
Wouldn't that cool?
That would be
I think that'd be really neat because I don't think we do enough interaction with the fans.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I'm probably going to get destroyed for that, by the way. But
No,
what are you doing?
no.
I don't care. Let's go.
No, like you said, it's very frustrating being a Pirates fan. But there's something about this franchise, the history, the players, the just the atmosphere. I'll be honest with you, and I hope I don't offend you by saying this, but I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. So, but my dad was, I don't know if you saw it when you met my dad, if he had his cowboy hat on. He told me he wasn't going to bring it because we were going to D.C. first. And he's like, I ain't wearing my cowboy stuff there. And I ain't wearing them in Pittsburgh either. So, but on the incline yesterday, he had the cowboy gloves. And the guy goes, oh, you're a Cowboys fan. He's like, oh, my God, I forgot to take these gloves. But anyways, I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. So I love Cowboys. And then I go back and Pirates and Penguins here. I'm not really a Steelers fan. My grandparents were. But now that we have Keanu here in Pittsburgh, I'm starting to like him a little bit more. But,
Yeah.
But there was that rivalry. Not as much now, but used to be really big in Super Bowls and stuff like that. More or less my dad's.
I love that you're holding your ground.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where either you've got the like the other night, Cowboys were playing the Lions, and at halftime they honored Jimmy Johnson. They put him in the Ring of Honor, And he said, I want to thank all the Cowboys fans for, all your commitment and your passion and support. And I want to thank all the Cowboy haters because without you guys, y'all don't make it as fun. It's not as fun.
Truth.
But
America's team.
America's team. But being a Pirates fan, I can't take, man, I'm telling you what. I took Jace, the blonde Muppet, took him to his first Pirates game. I'm sorry. That was the second time. We actually went to Bradenton with his mom and sister. I took him to Detroit and Lakeland, and it was just him and I. He had come home with 6 balls, foul balls, or people just giving him ball, and I'm like, that dude. That's like I'm like 9 again. I'm like, whoa, what? Like, because growing up, my parents never went. Now we came up here a few times, and I got to go to. I think I went to 2 games in Three Rivers, which is really cool.
Yeah, I've heard
memories I'll never forget. But PNC Park is so much better than Three Rivers because Three Rivers was so big, and that time when they were sharing football and baseball, it just wasn't. It didn't do them any favors by creating this huge. I mean, the outfield was pretty much roped off half the time. I mean, or you could go and sit. We didn't know you could move around like they do now. Or we would have gotten really, like, way closer to the...
Yeah.
And yelled at Andy Van Slag.
Yeah, no doubt.
But the history, man, I'm telling you, there's no place other... I mean, you got the Yankees, but there's... The history here is just... I mean, you can just walk around here and you just feel it. You know what I mean? So to be a part of that has to be like... I mean, I'm just a fan, and I get chills or goosebumps when I walk up there or I see we went over the Clemente Bridge, which I didn't know was closed for the last 2 years. When I saw on Facebook that it was just reopened, I'm like, we just drove across that.
Yeah.
And who was the first people to drive across it?
Yep.
The Clemente family, which I thought was really cool.
Really cool. Good job, PR.
Yes.
Really good job.
Which I think, and they were giving them a hard time because I think they put them in a minivan. Like, what are they? Like, why did you put them in a minivan? Why would you put them in something like more upscale, like a higher end car?
You just got to be happy.
And I'm like,
with just the little things. Sometimes they don't go as far as they should, but they got it right.
Absolutely.
So I'm pretty happy about it.
I was gonna say, when your dad or your granddad, whoever was part of his family, I know his son was there, but when your dad's a legend, who cares what you're driving? You could be on a moped.
No doubt.
Your dad's the greatest.
Yeah. Doesn't change the last name.
No. Having that name doesn't. It's one of those deals where he doesn't really have to explain himself or who he is anymore.
Yeah.
Or ever.
Yep.
And for that point. So talking about Pirates and stuff, tell me about, because I know you didn't get drafted by the Pirates, right? You got drafted by the Rockies. Okay. So tell me what that process was like, and then tell me how you got to Pittsburgh.
So I was drafted by the Rockies in 2006, the 7th round. Didn't see that coming, which is wild. I fell in the draft. Like I said, there was no analytics, and I wish I was able to play in the time of analytics, but I wasn't. So it is what it is. And the reason why I say that is because it would have been different for me. Analytics don't tell your foot size, your height.
Yeah.
It tells the story that's real. And it would have really helped me in the draft. But happy the way it all turned out. Wouldn't change it for the world. But in 2010, I get called up for the first time with the Rockies. Really cool experience. I always joke around. Peyton Manning was in my locker more than I was because he was a Bronco and he was teammates with Todd at UT. So he would steal my locker. And, when that head got in there, I wasn't getting in.
Oh, yeah.
But went into 2011 thinking, hey, I got a chance to make the team. Maybe it's a backup. They ended up signing somebody. And they had a roster crunch. So I got traded. And I got traded to Boston. It was really random. Didn't know what happened. Was told to go down the bullpen and sit there like a little boy that got in trouble. So I did. And then, lo and behold, I'm in Fort Myers the next day. And then the next day I'm in Dallas. Because I was told I made the team if Veritek can't go. Well, I spent about 3 days in the hotel room by myself. No taxi squad. No service time. No cheese. Just a plane ticket. My own dime or my meal money dime for my food, and then a flight back to Fort Myers to catch a couple guys, and then head up to Pawtucket. So big whirlwind. And then about 6 weeks later, weird circumstance happened in Boston. They thought I was hurt. I wasn't hurt. Turns out I was hurt. But I played through it. I had a torn labrum. I got hit really, really hard at the plate. Found that out probably about a year later, year and a half later. Actually, after that off season, my arm just didn't recover the right way, and I couldn't figure out why. All good now. Didn't have surgery. It's a long story. But in 2011, I'm trying to figure out how to play more. Didn't get called up. Should have gotten called up. There was kind of a boycott with some of the older guys.
Right.
Well, weird enough, Ben Sherrington and Ernie, my manager, called me, and I'm in the grocery store getting groceries for my Polly Pocket playland that I lived in because it was really small. I'd live in the attic of somebody's house.
Oh, wow.
With another teammate and my wife. So I'm getting food. I can't get too much because the fridge is too small. So I get what I can. I'm about to pay. My phone rings, and it's a private number. Anytime you get a private number as a player, like, oh, that's either good or bad.
Yeah.
Pick it up. It's Ernie. He's like, hey, you just got traded to the Pirates. I'm like, okay, cool. Where's their AAA? Just assumption since I'm in AAA. He said, no, you're going to Pittsburgh. And I just like shock.
Yeah.
It hit me. I'm like, all right, not sure what that means, but I got to get these groceries back on the shelf. So we re-ring the groceries, put them up. As we're doing it, the people there find out. They start helping. And then all of a sudden, Ben Sherrington calls me. And then Theo calls me. And then Francona calls me. I've never met Theo. I've never met Francona. I met Sherrington. And they all just thanked me.
Oh, wow.
And say, you deserve this. This has been something that's been in the works for 2-3 weeks.
Right.
We were going to trade you, but then we decided to hold on to you. And then we just decided with everything that's happened over the last couple of weeks, you deserve a chance, especially since you didn't get with us. Go get them.
That's awesome.
And good luck. And I'll never forget that. So when Sherrington came here to the Pirates, I said, that man gave me an opportunity that I can never, ever thank him enough for.
Right.
He didn't realize how big that was, but all that to be said, I come over here and I knew nothing about the Pirates.
Nothing at all.
I absolutely nothing because I grew up in Tennessee.
Right.
I got Warner, which was TNT, and I got the Braves.
Right.
I got the Cubs.
Right.
And every now and then I got Cincinnati. That's it. I never saw the Braves.
That's right.
All I knew was Bonds because Bonds was one of my favorite players when I was a little kid. Little League, I was a Pirate. I love Barry Bonds ever since.
Love Barry Bonds.
So that's it. So when I showed up, I'm kind of Googling as we're coming because I don't even know if they really had good iPhones then, but I'm doing everything I can to understand, okay, what am I getting into? Steel City, Steelers, not much about the Pirates.
No.
So when I show up, I didn't realize how beautiful it was.
Oh man, it's beautiful.
I was completely in shock. Find out later on that Joe Klimchak was actually my host who brought me in, carried my stuff in, and set up my locker. Joe Klimchak is the on-field personality for the Pirates still today.
Oh, okay.
So he was doing this big elaborate story on day in the life of a clubhouse manager. So he was the clubby that I met first, but he wasn't a clubby.
Oh, okay.
But he treated me amazingly.
Yeah.
He absolutely did everything you do plus some when it comes. So I felt so welcome immediately. Yeah. And that first day you show up, you have so much to do. They're like, get here at 12. I'm like, we play at 7. 12? Okay. Show up at 12. I'm eating lunch. No, not eating lunch. I'm doing video production for the scoreboard. I'm doing interviews. I'm meeting all the staff. I'm getting the signs. I'm meeting my actual pitching staff. And then all of a sudden it's meeting after meeting after meeting. And then it's, oh yeah, let's play. And then it's fly to Houston right after that. So it was a whirlwind, but I'll never forget going down for BP and just looking up at that bridge. We're just talking about the Clemente Bridge. Yep. And I was in awe. I literally thought I was in a little bit of heaven.
Yeah.
Like it's that cool. And right then and there, I just felt I was a part of it.
Yeah.
And as that year went on, somehow, some way, I became the Fort, and the city adopted me in a way that I became like a little baby brother. And I'll never forget it. And then when time came when I was not retiring, because I never say I retired, I say I walked away professionally.
Right.
Because I think it's a kid's game. You never retire from the game you love. I'll go play tomorrow if they let me. I just don't want to pay for money or play for money. This city took me in, and I'll never forget it. So I bleed black and gold now.
That's awesome. Do you know who gave you the? You said do you know who gave you the?
Greg Brown and Bob Walk. Bob Walk is a big history and military buff. Knows a lot of the forts, and why they were built and everything else. Fort McKenry is obviously where the Star Spangled Banner
That's right.
was written. And I actually got to raise the flag my first year as a Pirate
Oh, that's cool.
in Baltimore at
that's
Fort
so
McHenry.
cool.
So
That's cool.
Yeah, you talk about a cool nickname. I mean, all the bad nicknames you can have.
Oh, yeah.
That's one that's stuck and it's carried on. It followed me back to Colorado. It followed me to St. Louis. It's the first thing you said to me. And most of the time when people yell at me here, it's Fort. It's not Michael. It's not McKenry. So yeah, I'm very appreciative of that. And I think it's a God thing. I really do.
Yeah. Well, you could, I mean, we had Spanky.
Who I love. Mike LaValliere. I'll be with him next week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude,
Can't wait.
He's so cool.
Yeah.
There's a funny story about him that my Uncle Bobby's a diehard Pirates fan. That's how I became a Pirates fan. And so he talks about this story about how they're talking to Mike after, I don't know if it was after a game, like an actual game, or it was like, or it might have been spring training. I don't remember, but it's after a game. And he's like, yeah, no. They're interviewing, and somebody puts a trash can over his head, and he never missed a beat. He just kept talking.
Yep. He would still do that to today. He's a beauty, man. Like you don't make him like him anymore. Like he is just absolute beauty.
I would love to meet Spanky. That would be cool.
He shows up. He doesn't do spring training anymore. I hope that changes, and I hope all the older guys get to come back. But he's around. He's still down in Sarasota. Lives there. I think he does a lot of mentoring and coaching personally. But yeah, we're doing fantasy camp. You should do fantasy camp sometime.
I would love to do that.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Pirates fantasy camps every year in January.
Okay.
We're going to have a great crew down there. Me and Jack Wilson are obviously going to win the championship as coaches, but sorry, if you're not on our team, you're going to lose. That's just the way it goes.
Sadly, I'm going to miss Pirate Fest.
I am too.
That's Saturday.
Me, Steve Blast, Teague, LaValliere, all of us are going to be down in Florida. It's way more
I'll
important.
have to look that up, man.
Yeah, Pirates Fest.
When does it start?
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah. Opening banquet Saturday.
I'll
It's
be
a
home
little
tomorrow.
pricey, but it's worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Until you go, you don't get it.
Yeah.
But like when I say there's a waiting list, and
Yeah.
I think me and Greg Ragg can help you get to the top of it. But I mean, people come for 10, 15, 20 years in a row.
Oh, wow.
That's how cool this is. It's like a fraternity.
Oh,
now.
that's cool.
Yeah. You're welcome, Joe, for that plug.
That was free, by the way.
Free plug.
I was going to ask you about. I got a couple things written on here, but we've been rolling through this. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to come up with anything, but so you're with the Pirates. I just want to. I'm not trying to blow smoke or blow your head up or anything, but you were one of my favorites.
Thank you.
Just the nickname alone, I'm like, it's the freaking Fort, man.
I appreciate it.
That is a cool nickname.
Yeah.
Plus, you were a great player. I mean,
thank you.
I don't want to say were as in you aren't now. But
No, I was.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was. There's a past tense to that.
Yeah. But I always, it doesn't matter what sport it is. I always, even if it's a team I don't like I was telling somebody the other day, one of my buddies, he played at FSU, played linebacker, and now he's a strength and conditioning coordinator for the Cowboys.
Oh, cool.
So he does really cool things out there with them. Well, he came back one day. It was one of their breaks before the season started this year, and came on the podcast. It just totally surprised me. But anyways, I told him, I said, I even got and I'm a Gator. I'm a diehard Gator fan because you're in Florida.
My wife is too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
See, that's good.
There's a little connection right there.
Yeah. So I told him, Kendall, I said, I even got a favorite player on Florida State. And he's like, who's that? And he was thinking, and I was like, this guy named Kenny Shaw. Kenny Shaw, wide receiver. And I was like, I don't know why I like Kenny Shaw, but I just like Kenny Shaw. I think it's the name. It's such a cool name.
It is a cool name.
Kenny Shaw.
Kenny Shaw.
But I do that. I'll watch games and stuff. But one of the guys that you were one of the guys that stuck out. Of course, El Toro, Josh Bell was a favorite of mine. Polanco, Kutch. Let me tell you a little something about Kutch. Since he's been a Pirate, and I know he's going to be a Pirate again next year, which I'm excited about. Mm-hmm. But every year at spring training, we even went last spring training, trying to get him to sign a ball. I think there's a curse on me because he's either – it was even – like I had it down to a science. I'm like, All right, it's the 6th inning. He just batted. When it's over with, he's done. It's spring training. He's not going to do a whole game. And we were sitting on the side where it was in Bradenton, so they're going to come down the first base line. Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Travelin' Tom's Coffee Truck, the delicious mobile coffee truck that brings you the caffeination inspiration you need. We deliver signature coffee products like our Nitro Cold Brew and Caramel Frappe to any occasion or festivity. And for those who don't like coffee, we offer a variety of delicious hot chocolates, energy drinks, lemonades, and teas. That's Travelin' Tom's Coffee Truck. I'm like, let me go. I went over there. Mitch Keller was over there. We got him to sign a ball. Mitch Keller is the coolest guy.
He's a nice guy.
He's so nice.
It's been fun to watch him grow up.
Yeah. I had his jersey. I had it made. And he was like, I'm like, I got your jersey. He's like, what? He's like, what? You have my jersey? I'm like, yeah. So he signed it for me. Jace, the blonde Muppet, got a ball. I have a collection. And
he's forever going to be the blonde Muppet. I hope he will be.
He'll be the blonde Muppet.
Yeah.
I had a baseball. Brought like 6 balls. These are mine. Okay, I'm very, very, very I'm like a 6-year-old with these baseballs. I'm like, those are mine. You're not getting them. You know. Jason's like, Billy, I need a ball. Hand him a ball, and Mitch signs the ball for him. So now that's Jason's ball. He's like, no, this is my ball.
Does he really call you Billy?
He does call me Billy.
He didn't call you Dad?
No, I'm his stepdad.
Okay.
I don't think
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't know. So,
well,
kudos to you.
Right. Thanks. So,
at least he didn't call you William.
Right.
Hey, Bill.
He actually calls me Billson.
Even better.
Yeah. So
Billson.
Yeah, Billson.
Yeah, Billson. Yeah.
I think that was my old AOL.
There you go. Yeah.
Instant messenger.
Yeah.
Like
you also know
Billson.
karate. Yeah.
Yes.
Great Billson.
Lexahon.
Yes.
So, anyways, then Castro came over, and she was 16 at the time. Now she just turned 17. Caden, she's boy crazy, you know. She's like, Castro, I love him. Billy, got a ball? Yeah, here's a ball. I want that. Oh, I'm gonna. Castro signs it. Castro's walking out with Kutch, and can't get Kutch to sign. I'm like, oh, come on, dude. I was this close. I knew it. I knew where to be. Like, it's amazing how it never.
Are you coming to spring training this year?
I'm gonna try.
Tell me when. Yeah. I'll have a ball ready for you.
Oh, well, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Just remind me or I'll forget.
Yeah, no. Like, I don't even mind buying.
I know him okay.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I know him really well. He actually just texted me.
I was going to say. Yeah. I hope you would know him a little bit better.
Yeah, we're close.
Oh, that's
He's
awesome.
a great human being.
Yes.
One of the best.
He, and he's another favorite of mine.
Picking all these bad character guys. I thought you were.
I know.
Like, you said you were good at people.
Try to surround myself.
Seem like it.
I try to surround myself with bad people.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah,
that's the way to win in life.
Yeah. So, I gotta ask you this because I know it's gonna take a little bit to set this up, but I had a previous podcast and I mentioned you. I don't know if you saw the video I sent you. Mm. Okay. So, Mike Foote, he was our baseball coach at our high school.
Mike Foote?
That's his name. Foote. But it's got an E on the end. So everybody says
he's French.
Everybody says Foote.
Yeah.
So when the family comes over, I go, hey, the feet are here.
That's good.
Yeah. Shout out to the Foots or the feet, whatever.
We know who you are, Mike.
Yeah,
Mike Foote.
So I was telling him the story because at that time I'm over at Disney. Pirates are playing the Braves in Atlanta. Goes to 19 innings.
All right, this is all ended. We are out of here. No, I'm just kidding. Keep going.
I hate to keep twisting the dagger.
There's some significance to it now.
Well, I'm dying to hear your side of the story. Mm-hmm. So to set this up again, in case somebody hasn't watched that episode, it's 19th inning, bottom of the 19th inning, right?
Mm-hmm. In Atlanta.
I don't remember who was batting. Do you remember?
Yes. Give me a minute.
I can't remember.
It was a pitcher. He fell.
But they hit.
I'll think of it. Yeah.
They hit
Scott Proctor.
Okay, so he hits Proctor hits a ball to Alvarez. Alvarez relays it to you. All we need is one out.
Lugo's running in.
Yes.
That's one out.
One
on
out.
the 19th.
Right. The ball, you catch the ball. You tag. You make a tag. Clear as day.
Textbook.
I will beautifully.
Reminder, 2011.
Yes.
No replay.
No replay.
Neighborhood play still exists at second base.
Human
Think about
error
that.
still exists.
Yep. We can go on and on.
And I think that umpire was ready to go.
Yes. 6.5 hours in.
Jerry Mills.
Home
Plate umpire. Never forget it. I'm at Disney. We had our start time was like 5 or 6. I did the night parade. So the night parade that goes through Magic Kingdom. I'm driving a float. And we did a parade. We did 2 parades, but we had a gap in between where they did fireworks in the middle. So
that sounds awesome, by the way.
Oh, well, it was literally, I don't consider that a job. It was fun.
I would say not.
So we do a parade, we get done, park. I'm like, we got to go watch the Pirates because it was on TBS, I think.
Yeah, TBS,
because it was in Atlanta. So we get there and I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing's gone down to 19 innings, you know. We do another parade. I come back. It's 1 a.m. in the morning. And this play happens. And I'm like, this is how it ends? I remember my reaction, but I can't imagine you sitting there holding the ball like, what just happened? So tell me what you remember. Just tell me how that whole last, wasn't even 10 seconds.
So the story in the story that most people forget about is Daniel McCutchen. That's who's on the mound. And why that had significance is Daniel McCutchen was off that day. So back in the day, they didn't give you an off day in the big leagues very easily, especially a bullpen guy. He's a bullpen guy. Well, he threw 3 days in a row, and I believe he was up 4. So you never really ever threw after that.
Right.
The man kept asking as the game went on, knowing that we're running out of pitching, should I go get my cleats? We finally say, yeah, you should get your cleats. Well, by the time we're thinking that, he's running to the bullpen with his glove. And I called it turf days. Like, You're not allowed out in the bullpen. You're not out in the cage because if you're in the cage, you want to be a wild animal. So you don't let those guys out there. So he stayed in the dugout. So he runs out there. He throws 5 in a third innings up to this point in that game on his off day.
Yeah.
Like, he's not allowed to throw.
Yeah.
Like, medical staff, no, you will not throw today. So I always remind people that is gritty. That is the teammate you want.
Yeah.
And he fought and he pitched really well. Obviously, he threw up all zeros. So here we are, 1 out. Somehow Julio Lugo gets to third base, no clue how. And Scott Proctor, the pitcher at the time for the Braves, is up. And he rolls over a ball to Pedro Alvarez. And Pedro comes up, clean throw, throws it to me. I swipe tag.
Yep.
Because you don't kill someone that's 6 feet up the line. Because I catch it about 6 feet up the line. He was dead to rights.
Oh, yeah.
And the crazy part is, if you look back, Scott Proctor fell. But because Jerry Mills said safe, I didn't even care. I was yelling because the game's over.
Yeah.
But Daniel McCutchen couldn't believe it. So he's yelling at me, throw it to first base. Throw it to first base. Because it would have been a double play.
Right. Because he could have passed.
Yeah, it would have been the 20th inning.
Right.
So that's all happening. I don't hear anything. I just go straight to Jerry Mills. I was like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. I think I said it twice. And I said, Jerry, you're going to be so disappointed in yourself when you watch the video. And I look back at that. I'm like, I was his mother in that moment. I was literally his mother. You're going to be so, who says that?
Gerald.
Yeah. Gerald Arthur Mills, you are going to be so disappointed. I was like, what did I do?
Oh my God.
So I went into Mama Michael mode.
Yeah.
And by the time I got that out, Clint Hurdle, bubble gum and all, flying out of his mouth,
oh my gosh.
red
Clint.
as a tomato, fired up.
Yep.
And you don't want to get in the way of him when he's got something to say.
Right.
And I look up to him. He's just a great human being. He starts going. Some of the guys that were on the IL start coming out and screaming, like Snyder and Domit. And it just becomes a thing. And I literally think they're going to eat Jerry Mills. He's not a big guy. And all the guys I just mentioned are pretty big dudes.
Right.
I think they're going to eat him.
Oh my gosh.
So we get out of there and we protest the game. And ends up that Jerry Mills ended up having apologized on national television.
Wow.
But my wife still to today was the maddest person in the stadium. There's no doubt in my mind. I was cool, calm, and collected. Like, he's a human being too. She always jokes around. She's like, you were like Yoda. Like, what was wrong with you? Like, that's not you. But that moment, you were like Yoda. It's weird. So it was one of those things that he knew he got it wrong. But like some of the advice I got, I like to share this story. Like some of the umpires told me, like, you got to make it completely evident that you tagged him. I was like, that's not my job.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you need to go into him hard.
Right.
So I still to today, even when they changed the rules with the Buster Posey rule, which didn't exist, the neighborhood play, all these things didn't exist. No replay. Yep. Neighborhood play still exists. What that is like, as long as you were near the bag or near a tag or swipe tag, phantom tag, all that stuff was still evident. I tell people all the time, I was never going to put it in anybody's hands ever again from that point forward. Because Joe West told me, other umpires told me, like, never put it in our hands. And as much as I disagreed with that, because it is their job, I decided, that's what I'm going to do. So I'll never forget in 2015 with the Buster Posey rule where you have to give them the plate, no contact. I went into contact 3 different times. They ruled all in my favor. I got ran over 3 times, all outs. So you still can find a way, but never leave it into somebody else's hands when you want to make sure. So, it's part of the reason why we have replay. Yeah. It was a devastating play.
Gosh,
we fell off the map after that too. Yeah. We went to Philadelphia, and I don't even know if I remembered how to play baseball for 3 days. I went to Philadelphia, and I swear I had a hole in my bat. I swung and missed so much. It was wild. We got destroyed up there.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Webster Ace Hardware and Farm Supply are generous sponsors for today's podcast. They have been a family-owned business for 27 years. This helpful hardware store sells items such as archery, Ariat clothing and boots, Wrangler jeans, case knives, Hammond's candies, and live fishing. They also have a full selection of hardware, RV supply, propane, Ben Moore, Royal & Clark, and Kenningston paints. You need a barn or fencing job done? Custom barn kits and roofing metal are provided at your local Ace Hardware store. What about a new grill for the yard? Traeger, Big Green Egg, Weber, and Blackstone are found here, along with all the accessories to go with them. Stock up your workshop with DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Craftsman tools. They got you covered. Remember to go to ace.com to shop their entire line to have items shipped directly to the store. Well, I mean, that has a lot of, especially if you've got momentum building up.
Yeah, we're in first place.
Yeah, and then you got
middle to the end of the July. I think it's July 27th or something like that. Yeah, you're talking about we're in first place, having a chance to possibly. We ended up making a trade and get some better players in August to make our team better, still fighting for the playoffs. That run after that was bad. I'm talking bad. Historically bad.
That was what year was that? That was
11, and then we did it again the next year, but it was a little bit later in August. We were in first, and we fell off the map. That was because of depth. We had some guys get hurt, but in 11, I think the emotional toll of getting into first place, running with first place for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then falling off the table, but still being evident or relevant, was a lot for especially a lot of those young guys. Because you mentioned some of them. Kutch is young. Yeah. It's before his deal. Yeah. Pedro's young. Jay Hay, Alex Presley, myself. A lot of us were just getting started.
Yeah. That was when I was able to watch. That's when I had that Root Sports thing, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm just now deciding to watch games all the time. Because I think baseball gets...
Because we became relevant. I think that's... Right. I didn't realize that then, but that's something, like, a lot of fans came back during those years, kind of similar to what's happening now with the Pirates, because you could see a core coming together. Yeah. And we had a core group. And I think going back to your culture talk is baseball loses that really easily, especially small markets, because you have that turnover. Right. And it's so important to sign the guys like Reynolds and Key Brian Hayes and get guys like, I hope they sign Keller and Bednar and bring back Andrew McCutchen to make sure that they feel like, hey, this is our core. This is who we have. We're going to be here for a while and we're going to make a name for ourselves. Right. So that's what this town wants. That's what they need. And if you have to spend a little more to do that, that's okay. but you have to find a way.
Right.
And I think the biggest thing I tell people all the time is I want free agents to want to play here. And I think the only way that happens is you get more free agents and you sign guys that are here that represent the brand, represent the culture you want to deals. And that's the only way it's going to work.
Well, and then another thing is you know, when you were saying small market team, Pittsburgh keeps saying that, though. Everybody, especially in Florida, they're like, well, they're always small market. Tampa Bay is a small market. And I know they.
Well, look at last year's playoffs.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
You can look at those teams and say Baltimore.
Yeah. Baltimore's not a big city.
Yeah, but even if they are and they can spend money, they weren't.
Yeah, exactly.
They were bottom 25.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I think baseball's changed in that aspect. Like, as good as the Dodgers are going to be, as good as the Braves are going to be, there's still a reality that it's a team game.
Yep.
And you can't win with the two best players in the world, Mike Trout and Ohtani in Anaheim. You can't win with the two best.
Yeah.
You may be able to do that in the NBA.
Yeah.
You may be able to get the big three and win.
Right.
But you cannot do that in baseball. Now, we'll see what happens in LA because they're going to be as good as I've ever seen with talent. But with that being said, I still don't think they're going to run away with the championship just because they have the best players on the field, because you have to play a team game. And if two of those guys are cold, one of them's hurt, there's a lot of ins and outs in this game, and pitching and defense always win.
Right. Having said that, as a player, what are some of the, where's the best place you ever played? Like as a total package, not you played for them, but played against them. Oh, we love going to San Diego because the fans are nice. I've always heard that the fans are nice in San Diego. Or this reason they treat us well. They got really cool, whatever it is, whatever the enticing thing is about that city. What was your favorite place to play in?
So sneaky city, Milwaukee, not to play there, but just city in general. Gotcha. I just really liked it. I liked walking down by the river. It was really, really cool. St. Louis is by far one of my favorite. Camden Yards was a dream come true.
Gotcha.
I loved playing in places I could hit well. So I hit really well in Houston.
Gotcha.
I loved playing in Colorado.
Yeah.
Philadelphia, for some reason, not to mention the cheesesteaks in the clubhouse were absolutely outstanding. But when you just think about ballparks, you really can't beat St. Louis, PNC, some of the newer ballparks I didn't get to go to. But I remember the first time I played in Arlington was really, really neat. It was packed out. But really, St. Louis, to me, when you think about the kind of old school, new school feel, because you have the arch. It's one of the prettiest backdrops outside PNC.
Right.
But it reminded you of maybe what the past was like of just this is America's pastime.
Yep.
Because the fans are nice. They're good to you.
Yep.
It's always packed. And it's like a day out at the city in St. Louis. All the people come in from the suburbs. It's just really, really neat. And being from Knoxville, being a Braves fan, first time I played at Turner was really cool.
Oh, that is cool.
So in a nutshell, that's kind of what I would say. And what you said about San Diego, yes, I didn't like playing there. I didn't hit well there.
Yeah.
San Fran, even though I played well there, I didn't like it because it was so cold.
Yeah.
LA, I loved playing there because I hit well there.
Yeah.
And it was always neat to see who was there. I got to see stars, a president. That was really, really neat. But yeah, when you look back, there's a lot of different reasons why you like places. And I think if you are a baseball player or a fan and you have a heartbeat, PNC is going to be your favorite.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that's one of the reasons why I brought Nicole and Jace up here is to see PNC Park.
And to see me, of course.
And of course to see you and Greg. Yeah, of course.
Oh, you let it slip.
I mean, my dad, Greg.
Yeah.
So we went by the stadium and it was like, it's, you can't, of course, yesterday was, we've been by it several times, but we tried to do a tour, but the tours were all done for the year. They're getting ready for Pirates Fest. Pirate Fest.
I'm actually going to go over there here pretty soon.
Yeah. So, but I wanted them to experience that because I've always said, and my uncle has said the same thing, that it's like they built the stadium and then they built the city around PNC Park.
Right. That's a really cool way to look at it. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Like it was there before And then they're like, all right.
It's like the only thing there. And it's like, let's build this giant city around this stadium.
Yeah. Let's, we'll put the downtown, get the Carnegie Building in the back. You know, I just think it's one of those iconic. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I love Three Rivers. And of course, I'm not old enough to remember Forbes Field, which I would have loved to have seen. But they say that PNC's kind of like Forbes was back in the day, but Forbes was a little bit longer. I do play on MLB The Show. I'll play some of the retro games there, and it's timeless. It really is.
That's cool. That's really cool.
So let me give you a couple more questions. I'm gonna get you out of here. Whether your water is supplied by a public municipality or a private well, for residential or commercial use, Purified Water Services LLC has the solutions to provide you with simply clean water. We offer a complete line of professional water filtration equipment and accessories. Soft water makes a difference you can see and feel. Water heater and appliances last longer with less maintenance. Iron and H2S filters eliminate iron stains and offensive rotten egg odors and protects your water softener equipment from iron fouling. No matter what your problem is, Purified Water Services LLC has a solution. Contact Kenny Williams at 352-446-2709. Tell me a little bit about, because I was on YouTube just kind of going through videos, and they were talking about the COVID year and how difficult, or how when you guys, you got Greg Brown at one desk and you've got John at the other desk, and then and it's like you're in the same building but you're not, and you're doing the play-by-play like watching the TV. Tell me how difficult that was to kind of transition into.
Hindsight, whoa.
Yeah. And not to mention there's no fans.
Yeah, so here's the thing, is like we weren't in the stadium anyways.
Right.
In 2020. I think what most people don't know about my story is that was the first year I really got into broadcasting.
Okay.
I was the pre and post game analyst. I did some broadcasting, but that's the year Steve Blass, he left in 2019, so they were looking for a replacement. And I never got to do a broadcast that year without having to do a pregame and a postgame. So when I say that was hard is an understatement, because we were understaffed. Right. All the protocols that we had to deal with, we weren't around the team, weren't around the players, so there was no real insight like normal. And they were just giving us little bits. And then, we didn't get to really hang out and talk that much.
Right.
So everything was handcuffed. So it was very difficult in that manner. And then you think about, we're doing things from a broadcast that's not ours.
Right.
It's MLB's broadcast.
Right.
So everything we see is based on what they want to show. So if we want to highlight something, we couldn't. If Josh Bell makes an adjustment, does something really cool,
right,
and we want to talk about him, but they want to talk about the guy for the Indians, that's who we're talking about.
Right.
And it really had no way to create a narrative for the game or tell the story as a Pirate,
right, or
for a Pirate fan. We had to tell the story that was presented before us on the television screen, and it was about 15, 20 screens, all at the same time while we're listening to an announcer that's off-site to hear who's in the bullpen, because we didn't know if they were going to show us. So everything was kind of like adapt or die.
Yeah.
And then we had to fill time based on MLB, because everything was around their schedule and how they brought it to us.
Gotcha.
So it was very hard, very difficult. I can't believe how flawless the production crew made it seem, and how they were able to adapt from a giant truck to a baby small equipment room so quickly. It is the reason why MLB's trying to take over now. Yeah. They got the capabilities, figured it out during that time. They said never let something go to waste, and they didn't. They used it as an opportunity to learn how to take over the entire production. So I think being able to look back, all I learned, I figured out kind of who I was in broadcast, how to adapt to just about any situation.
Right.
We made content that we'd probably never do again. I was in the stadium in real time while they're in Cleveland playing, and I'm on the scoreboard I'm watching the game on the scoreboard, doing a hit at the same time. It was wild. So we got to get outside ourselves, do some different things. I think some of that was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, during the time that was really, really tough, I think the greatest thing that came about it was the culture that was created. We all just came together and figured it out.
Gotcha.
And I was just told you I did a camp recently, and one of the instructors said FIO. And I'll never forget FIO because that's exactly what 2020 was. FIO's figure it out.
Yeah.
It's the year of FIO.
Yep. And it was a weird situation because it didn't start play till like May or June, wasn't it? It was a very shortened season.
July.
Oh, was it July?
It was July. I played 60 games, and we were on hold.
Yeah, that's right.
I was flying to Bradenton and was getting out of the car to go fly to go do a spring training game. They called me back, and I went home.
Oh my!
That's how fast it happened.
Wow.
Yeah, already been down there once. So
yeah,
and that was the first time I actually did just broadcast.
Oh, okay.
So like I'd done hits and done in-game stuff, but never done just a whole game, and that was my only focus.
Right.
So that spring was the first time I did it, and then all of a sudden COVID happened,
right?
And a lot of guys couldn't do it,
right?
Right. So if anybody got sick, the young guy stepped up. Mm-hmm. So I was overwhelmed with all the stuff I was doing, and I was learning on the fly, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Now that I look back at it, because when you get thrown into the trenches, you survive or you don't.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
you either sink or swim.
Exactly, sink or swim.
Yeah. Yep. Last thing, and I'm going to transition this on, let you go. But I mentioned earlier how the first time I met you.
You never finished that story.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
So the first time I met you, I brought you a ticket stub from your first home run. Mm. So it was the Cubs. It was the Cubs game, mm-hmm. And I brought. You ended up signing one for me, and you kept the other one. But you were very genuine.
Still have it?
Yes. Well, yeah.
No, I do. I know exactly where it is.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
yeah,
thank you.
Mine's on all the old. I've got shelves and stuff. I got all that stuff. But what I was saying is genuinely like one of the nicest people.
Thank you.
That I've ever met, and I appreciate you. It's not just me. There's a lot of people that every time I say something about the Fort or Michael McKenry, it's all positive things. There's nothing negative. And so to have that kind of name is a good thing. And no, it's not Mike Trout or Bo Jackson or whatever, but you're the Fort. You'll always be the Fort.
I appreciate it. And that, like you said, it's my story. I wasn't meant to be Bo Jackson or Mike Trout, but I think your life is defined by how you create people that can do nothing for you.
Yeah.
Jackie Robinson said that, and Clemente lived by that too. And I think too often we forget that as human beings, no matter what walk of life we're in. And to be honest, it's really about, I want to represent something way bigger than me. It's my faith.
Oh, yeah.
And I try to. And it's humbling to hear you say that, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It gives me a drive to want to do more and to try to give back, probably in ways I'll never be able to, but I'm going to strive to.
Well, there's an old saying about character, how our character defines us more than our abilities.
Yeah. Do you know when character's defined? It's my favorite quote.
When is it?
In the dark.
In the dark?
When nobody's watching.
When nobody's watching.
That's when you're defined. Because like one of my favorite Bible stories, Jesus went to the woods 40 days and 40 nights.
Yeah.
Nobody's there.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? It's just him and the Father, and he's sitting there, he's praying, he's not eating, and me, probably you and anybody else would be thinking about that cheeseburger.
Yeah.
No, he's diligent.
Yeah.
And that's when you're defined. And I think there's a reason why he went out into the woods, in the wilderness by himself, because if you've ever been out in the woods by yourself late at night, it's very intimidating.
Yeah.
But you really figure out where you're going to put your faith.
Absolutely. And it also establishes, being disciplined. I mean,
no doubt.
Think about that.
No doubt.
About how disciplined he was.
Yep. And that's extreme.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
everybody
goes through their own thing.
You need to find your extreme.
Right.
And if I could do 40 days, 40 nights, I would. But
absolutely.
You have to work there.
Absolutely.
Right? He was diligent in what he needed to do.
Absolutely.
And that comes from discipline.
Discipline. Well, Fort,
we could probably go all day, but I do have to get to the cages.
I don't want to hold you. And I hope that you'll come back on one day.
Anytime you ask,
All right.
I will come back on.
Especially if you're down in Florida, I will definitely come to you or whatever.
I'll be there in spring training, so come find me.
Okay.
If you want your catch ball.
Yeah. There you go.
Hey, got him.
I will definitely do that.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this two-part of the Goblay show. That was our guest, Michael the Fort McKenry, and I just appreciate him coming on today. Appreciate all our sponsors and all the support. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and follow on Spotify. Until next time, we'll see you later.